Good morning and welcome to New Hanover County Schools The Morning Show. I'm Kira Schwagel.
And I'm Grayson Borst. This is the week of December 9th through December 15th. Thank you for joining us today and starting your day off with our exciting and educational morning show.
We hope you are enjoying our show this school year along with our sister show, Your School News.
Before we get started today, we wanted to take a few moments to tell you about several of the other quality programs we have airing on our channel.
Anyone with a student in the New Hanover County school system will want to watch Up Front with the Superintendent. Our host, Ann David, sits down on a one-on-one with Superintendent Dr. Markley. Together, they discuss important topics facing our school system and highlight changes and programs the public needs to know about.
We also have the Forum, hosted by Sheila Evans. The Forum highlights interesting and important events, programs, and achievements within our school system and community. Every episode features 3 separate interviews which strengthen the bond between the school system and the community.
And another show you shouldn't miss on our channel is Diversity Matters. This show is hosted by Valita Quattlebaum and takes a look at diversity in the school system and community. The show explores unique programs, community partnerships, and talks with many different students in our school system.
If you're a fan of sports, then be sure to tune in to our coverage of high school football on the Sports Roundtable. Playoffs are underway, and you can see game highlights and hear from the coaches in this long-running popular show.
And don't miss our other programming, which features Board of Education meetings, music concerts, science features, and so much more.
So, if you're a fan of the morning show and Your School News, be sure to tune into our other programs as you will enjoy them as well.
It's time to check in with the third member of our team, Leah Schwagel. She is standing by right now with our first look at the morning news headlines. Good morning, Leah.
Good morning, Kira and Grayson, and welcome everyone to Your School News here on the morning show. Topping the headlines this week, Ashley High School students receive special recognition at JROTC ceremony. Bikes for Kids give students at Snipes and Freeman free bikes. And Coddington Elementary's CARES program supports the community. I'll have all those stories and more coming up later in the show.
Thanks, Leah.
It's time for a staple here on the morning show, This Week in History. Our Grand Master of Historical Knowledge has all the headlines from past times in This Week in History.
Welcome to This Week in History, covering all the colorful and amazing events that have left their mark on history's timeline. This is the week of December 9th through December 15th. December 9th, 1979. A commission of scientists declared that smallpox has been eradicated. The disease, which carried around a 30% chance of death for those who contracted it, is the only infectious disease afflicting humans that has officially been eradicated. December 10th, 1920. On this day, the Nobel Prize for Peace is awarded to U.S. President Woodrow Wilson for his work in ending the First World War and creating the League of Nations. Although Wilson could not attend the award ceremony, U.S. Ambassador to Norway delivered a telegram from Wilson to the Nobel Committee. December 11, 2008, financier Bernard Madoff is arrested at his New York City apartment and charged with masterminding a long-running Ponzi scheme, later estimated to involve around $65 billion. It was one of the biggest investment frauds in Wall Street history. December 12, 1787, Pennsylvania becomes the second state to ratify the Constitution. By a vote of 46 to 23, Pennsylvania was the first large state to ratify, as well as the first state to endure a serious anti-federalist challenge to ratification. December 13, 2003, after spending 9 months on the run, former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein is captured on this day. Saddam's downfall began on March 20, 2003, when the United States led an invasion force into Iraq to topple his government, which had controlled the country for more than 20 years. Finally, our weekend tidbits. December 14, 1799, George Washington, the American revolutionary leader and first president of the United States, dies of acute laryngitis at his estate in Mount Vernon, Virginia. He was 67 years old. December 15, 2001. Italy's Leaning Tower of Pisa reopens after a team of experts spent 11 years and $27 million to fortify the tower without eliminating its famous lean. That's This Week in History, your ultimate source for those key moments in time. Thanks for stopping by.
And join us again next time for another journey through time as we explore the fun, fascinating, entertaining, and educational facts that make up this week in history.
And coming up, did you know December is Human Rights Month? What are our human rights? Find out all about them after the break.
But first, we have our word of the week. Each week, we highlight an advanced English word, so when you use them in a sentence, you can impress even educated speakers. Here's our word of the week.
Hey, Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O's for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the morning show. I'm Kira Schwegel.
And I'm Grayson Borst.
Human Rights Day is Tuesday, December 10th, and December is Human Rights Month. These serve to remind everyone that in 1948, the United Nations General Assembly recognized the basic human rights of every individual on the planet.
For many people, they hear the words human rights and have an idea of what they are, but when asked to explain them to you, you may receive many different explanations.
To help us understand what our human rights really are, we have this special segment for you. This brought to you by the Youth of Human Rights Organization.
Human rights are the rights you have simply because you're human. It's how you instinctively expect and deserve to be treated as a person, like the right to live freely, to speak your mind, and to be treated as an equal. There are many kinds of rights. Most apply to a certain group. But human rights are the only ones that apply to absolutely everyone, everywhere. That means kids, old people, poor people, basketball players, garbage men, rappers, teachers, Africans, Indians, Albanians, Christians, Muslims, Kabbalists, atheists, your mom, your dad, your next door neighbor, and you all have the exact same human rights. In other words, they're universal. But the question remains, what are they?
Name the human rights?
What the human rights are?
The right to live.
Equality between all peoples.
Right to religion, the right to...
Is there supposed to be a list somewhere I should be aware of?
According to the United Nations, there are a total of 30 human rights, which are usually lumped together and called simply human rights. They're all listed out in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is the world's most widely accepted document on the subject. But it was a long time in coming. At first, there were no human rights. If you were in with the right crowd, you were safe. If you weren't, well, you weren't. But then a guy named Cyrus the Great decided to change all that. After conquering Babylon, he did something completely revolutionary. He announced that all slaves were free to go. He also said people had the freedom to choose their religion, no matter what crowd they were a part of. They documented his words on a clay tablet known as the Cyrus Cylinder. And just like that, human rights were born. The idea spread quickly to Greece, to India, and eventually to Rome. They noticed that people naturally followed certain laws, even if they weren't told to. They called this natural law, but it kept getting trampled on by those in power. Not until 1,000 years later in England did they finally get a king to agree that no one can overrule the rights of the people, not even a king. People's rights were finally recognized, and they were now safe from those in power. Kind of. It still took a bunch of British rebels declaring their independence before the king got the point that all men are created equal. Which isn't to say he liked the idea, but he couldn't stop them, and America was born. The French immediately followed with their own revolution for their own rights. Their list was even longer, and they insisted that these rights weren't just made up. They were natural. The Roman concept of natural law had become natural rights. Unfortunately, not everyone was so thrilled. In France, a general named Napoleon decided to overthrow the new French democracy and crown himself emperor of the world. He almost succeeded, but the countries of Europe joined forces and defeated him. Human rights was again a hot topic. They drew up international agreements, broadly granting many rights across Europe. But only across Europe. The rest of the world somehow still didn't qualify. Instead, they got invaded, conquered, and consumed by Europe's massive empires. But then a young lawyer from India decided enough was enough. His name was Mahatma Gandhi, and in the face of violence, he insisted that all people of Earth had rights, not just in Europe. Eventually, even Europeans started to agree. But it wasn't going to be that easy. 2 world wars erupted. Hitler exterminated half the Jewish population of Earth in horrifying Nazi death camps. And all told, 90 million people died. Never had human rights been so terrifyingly close to extinction. And never had the world been more desperate for change. So the countries of Earth banded together and formed the United Nations. Their basic purpose was to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person. But what were human rights? Were they the proclamations of Cyrus, the natural laws of Rome, the declarations of France? Everyone seemed to have a slightly different idea of what human rights should be. But under the supervision of Eleanor Roosevelt, they finally agreed on a set of rights that applied to absolutely everyone. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The French concept of natural rights had finally become human rights.
We're all born free and equal.
Don't discriminate.
These are your human rights. There are 30 of them. They belong to you. You don't have to buy them, or apply for them, or ask permission to have them. They're just yours. No matter who you are, where you're from, how old you are, or anything else. It's just that simple. Now, some people may try to ignore your rights, or violate them, or pretend they don't exist. But they can't change the fact that they're yours. Human right number 30. No one can take away your human rights. What are human rights? Find out at youthforhumanrights.org.
We hope you learned a little about what your human rights are and why they are important to everyone.
If you would like to celebrate Human Rights Month, you can volunteer for an organization like Amnesty International, which supports tirelessly to support and spread human rights.
It's time for our morning news. Let's send it over to Leah Schwegel, who has several wonderful stories to report. Good morning, Leah.
Good morning and welcome to your school news on the morning show. I'm Leah Schwegel. Our top story this week, when a life and death situation arose, one student at Ashley High School sprang into action and saved his grandfather's life. For that, he was awarded a prestigious ribbon. YSN reporter Bradley Meadows was there and brings us the full story.
On the evening of November 5th, Cadet Daniel Jarabow successfully used emergency medical training to confirm that his grandfather was suffering from the early stages of a stroke.
So I just made dinner and he was saying that he wasn't really feeling good, and he started to collapse and I noticed some stroke-like symptoms, and I'm about to get my Eagle Scout, and he's actually an Eagle Scout and he's like what kept me in it, but I noticed stroke-like symptoms from being in Boy Scouts. They taught me that, and I called 911 and I got him outside and our neighbors came over and stood with him while I got his medications and stuff like that.
Jarabow and his grandfather have a very close relationship, so when he noticed his grandfather might be in trouble, he took action and ultimately saved his life. Because of Jarabow's quick thinking and his extensive training, his actions earned him a prestigious award within the ROTC program, the Meritorious Achievement Ribbon.
So He's when my father wasn't there, he was a real father figure in the household. He's kept me in Boy Scouts, and I live with him. I get I say bye, I love you to him every morning, and I come greet him every afternoon when I get home from school. So we have a really good relationship.
The award that he has received it's not surprising. He's an Eagle Scout, and he's received a tremendous amount of training, thankful to not only the Junior ROTC program, but the American Legion sent him to Boise State this past summer. It is the top and most prestigious award you can get presented through the Naval Junior ROTC program because it involves saving someone's life.
I want to go to college on a Navy scholarship, and then after I finish up my bachelor's degree, go to officer candidate school and be an officer in the 96 Marine Corps. So that's my end goal.
For your school news, I'm Bradley Meadows.
The holiday season came early for students at Freeman Elementary and Snipes Academy. Bikes for Kids Foundation recently gave all third graders a free bike to take home. It's a gesture that shows that good things can happen when you work hard in life. Third grade classes have spent the past month on 2 guidance lessons and a book study focused on thinking big, working hard, and making no excuses to reach their goals and dreams. Each third grade student has written an essay about working hard to achieve their dreams. Bikes for Kids Foundation is a not-for-profit foundation founded in 2002 and is focused on delivering hope and confidence to disadvantaged children across America. Utilizing 3 character-building books and required essays, the organization delivers hope for big dreams that build clarity, confidence, responsibility, kindness, and determination to help students overcome poverty and entitlement with the lesson that nothing is given, everything is earned.
Well, I was surprised because I didn't know what was going on either. And then when I heard his essay and I saw his face and all the other kids and their essays, it was wonderful.
You're pretty proud of yourself, I can tell.
Oh, yes. I love him. That's my baby.
This magnitude of this gift is huge, but it's really not a gift. These kids didn't look at this thinking we gave them a bike. Hopefully they walked away saying, I was rewarded a bike because of the hard work I did and the quality of work I did with no excuses. And that's the learning piece of life as to how life proceeds on from this point. It's what we continue to carry that theme through all the way through 4th grade.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to ride it.
Bikes for Kids is far more than a bike program. It's a 2-year journey of building character and materializing dreams in children. It begins with each 3rd grade Title I child is sponsored schools studying a book titled Think Big, Work Hard, Be Kind, No Excuses. After 3 weeks of study and 3 weeks of challenge questions, students write an essay describing how those terms apply to their lives. Learning that nothing is given, everything is earned, they are told that the best 3 essay papers will be awarded with a new bicycle. As part of the Coddington Cares initiative, 2nd graders recently demonstrated they are service-oriented by filling red stockings for children in our area. The Salvation Army's Red Stocking program provides stockings filled with age-appropriate items for children in need within our own community. By participating in this service project, Coddington says their hope is that students will learn empathy, kindness, and the importance of giving to others. The school is accepting donations through Friday, November 30th. The stockings will be picked up on December 5th and delivered to the Salvation Army, where they will be distributed to children in need. Come one, come all, head to Southeast Area Technical High School's Winter Bazaar and do some holiday shopping. Indulge in the market's over 30 vendors with friends and family, enjoy a delicious meal from Poor Piggy's food truck, and participate in the delightful silent auction. All this merriment will be taking place in the school's decadent auditorium and spacious parking lot. Even the exceptional Mr. and Miss Claus will be in attendance. To experience this truly wonderful event, head down Sidbury Road on December 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be a wonderful day. For all the latest on New Hanover County Schools, join us weekdays at 5 p.m. here on Spectrum Cable Channel 5 and Channel 191 in Carolina Beach for your school news. A complete half hour of all the latest news and information from New Hanover County Schools. Now back to our hosts.
Thanks, Leah.
All right, it's time now for this week's lunch menu. This is the menu for Monday, December 9th through Monday, December 16th. On Monday, December 9th, start the week off majestic by enjoying pasta with meat sauce and a garlic knot, crispy chicken tenders with a dinner roll, or a delectable grilled cheese sandwich. The fun continues as you add enticing sweet potato puffs, green beans, crunchy carrot sticks, tomato and cucumber salad, and a healthy diced peaches to your plate.
Then, on Tuesday, December 10th, sit down with your friends and enjoy scrumptious General Tso chicken with brown rice, sloppy joe, or a cheesy chicken quesadilla. Continue the explosion of flavor with the side items of California blend vegetables and exquisite diced pears.
On Wednesday, December 11th, decide on the tough choice of the best chicken wings around served with a dinner roll, a marvelous beef taco with Spanish rice, or a barbecue riblet sandwich. Add an assortment of sides including palatable pinto beans, carrots, and flavor-packed applesauce.
On Thursday, December 12th, take pleasure in the post-Thanksgiving feast of turkey and gravy with a dinner roll or settle for the barkingly good corn dog nuggets. The meal's not completed until you pile on stunning stuffing, glazed carrots, a fresh banana, and crispy apple crisp for dessert.
Then, on Friday, December 13th, race to the nearest lunch line and grab excellent chicken nuggets with a dinner roll, a stunning beef and cheddar sandwich, or a French bread pepperoni or cheese pizza. And on your way to the table, be sure to pick up poppin' hot mashed potatoes, steamy stewed tomatoes, and tasty mixed fruit.
Finally, on Monday, December 16th, shake off those Monday morning blues at lunch with delicious chicken wings served with a garlic knot, an enticing lasagna roll-up also served with a garlic knot, or a meatball hoagie. Includes sides of splendiferous broccoli and cheese, creamy pasta salad, crunchy carrot sticks, tomato and cucumber salad, and wonderful diced peaches. And you can't go wrong.
And there you have the lunch menu for this week. In addition to those items, milk, a garden salad, fresh fruit, French bread pizza, and a peanut butter and jelly combo will be available daily.
So many delicious choices. Don't forget, you can also start your day off with a healthy and hearty breakfast at school.
Now, when we come back, we have a brand new edition of Amazing Teachers.
It's coming up right after this short break.
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Welcome back to The Morning Show. I'm Kira Schwigel.
And I'm Grayson Borst.
We are thrilled to continue today's show with an episode of NHCS Spotlight. This segment introduces us to the people who work behind the scenes for New Hanover County Schools. We will meet them, get to know a little about their job, and how they support our school system.
In this episode, we will meet Debbie Trafton, the Classified Personnel Supervisor, and find out all about her and her job.
I am the Supervisor of Classified Talent Management for New Hanover County Schools, and I supervise the retention and the recruitment and the development and support of all classified employees. And many people ask, what is a classified employee? They are the teacher assistants, our custodians, our cafeteria workers, our bus drivers and bus aides, folks in our technology department, our maintenance operations department, and many more actually as well. I help keep track of their new hire from the very beginning, and throughout their career we help them with their performance appraisals and answer any kind of questions that come up through employee relations. We provide them guidance on their employment, and we also provide here guidance to our administrators and our directors. So if there's a position at a school or a department that needs to change, if there's a performance issue with an employee, we provide that guidance to those supervisors to help them through those difficult steps. So from the moment that we ask an employee to submit new hire paperwork, through their orientation and their placement, we are with that employee, helping guide them through any kind of personnel questions that they may have. Simple ones from leave to pay to where do I go if I want to transfer. My team here makes themselves available for them, whether they work at a school or at a department. I also speak Spanish fluently, and that's been a big asset to have here because we have many Spanish-speaking only employees. And when we call to offer the position, I can tell them the terms of their employment in their native language. And that gives them a lot of confidence when they first report to work on that very first day, knowing this is my job, I know everything I need to know, and then they can be successful. Well, I first went to school to get my bachelor's degree in international politics, and I got my master's degree in Spanish, and I was thinking that I was going to be an international lawyer. And it so happened that one of the clients that was working for the law firm that I had offered me a position with them working on a government contract, and I was responsible for hiring support personnel nationwide. And I fell in love with it right away, helping people find their own dream job. I stopped working for a while to raise my family and moved to Wilmington, and I transitioned back into work through New Hanover County Schools. I started as a sub, and then I worked for a little bit as a teacher's assistant. I spent some time in public relations, and I eventually ended back home in human resources about 4 years ago. The obvious support that we provide our teachers is providing them with the best teacher assistants and support staff in their school. And that is a large chunk of the employee base that we have on the classified side. What's not as obvious is what we do for our students and parents. One of the best times of year to be in this position is when the special education department runs their transition fair. And the purpose of this transition fair is to provide students and parents of special education kids to come in and meet with employers who they may not otherwise have an opportunity to talk to face to face. And we can help them and encourage them by saying, hey, look, your path may be different, but you do have qualifications that can get you a job with us. And you can get your foot in the door and start your career with New Hanover County Schools, a place where you're already familiar, you have contacts, you have support, and watching parents see their child's face light up because they're, for the first time, hearing, you are hireable, we value you, and we think you can be a great contributor to our school system. That's one of the biggest perks of working with the students and parents. Without a doubt, my favorite part of the job is calling a candidate on the phone or talking to them in person and offering them a position. We are the second largest employer in New Hanover County, and so we have opportunities here that people are struggling to find every single day. And when you are on the phone with, let's say, a cafeteria worker or a custodian who's earning very modest earnings per year, and you hear that joy and that relief that they have a job and they can provide for their own family, there's nothing more rewarding.
Thank you, Ms. Trafton, for all you do for New Hanover County Schools, the students, and the employees.
And all year long, here on the Morning Show, we will feature staff and student highlights and special features, so be sure to tune in each week.
In fact, we feature another outstanding employee right now with a brand new segment of Amazing Teachers.
Lauren Thompson, teacher at Ashley High School, spent a big chunk of her summer at Yellowstone National Park. The experience was a trip of a lifetime and part of a program to enhance her teaching.
Here is our special feature on this New Hanover County Schools Amazing Teachers.
Last summer, I applied for this position to get a teaching fellowship with Ecology Partners International, and so they literally sent me to Yellowstone to work with their leaders and other teachers from across the country from all different science backgrounds. And so the goal of this was to give us research experience in Yellowstone and to also allow us time to collaborate and work with other teachers, which was really inspirational. I had never been to Yellowstone, and I thought that was so great to have this opportunity. Like, I was literally looking to travel and be able to have the experience. And so it was so great to work with Ecology Partners International and New Hanover County Schools to allow me to be able to go there, because I otherwise wouldn't be able to. So with Ecology Partners International in Yellowstone, they do bison research, wolf research, and we actually just started this climate study looking at different amphibians. So I was able to see wolves and bison and all those, which is like the figureheads of Yellowstone, which is really great. But I also got to do this amphibian survey. So we went into this local ephemeral lake, meaning that it is there some times of the year and not other times of the year. And amphibians are really sensitive to climate change. So I was in this lake catching different amphibians and also seeing little snakes go by. And it was just a really cool experience to be able to collect some of this initial data, but it also totally put me out of my comfort zone because I am very much an ocean person, and that was a lot of slimy things. With the bison, we were doing this home on the range study, and so we're looking at populations of bison in Yellowstone and seeing how those populations are doing. We introduced bison back several years ago, and their populations are doing well, and so we want to see, are they stable? Do they need to continue to grow? What needs to happen with that? So we go out there with radio telemetry and we find different bison that have been collared, and with that we are able to monitor the population size by counting the number of bison that are around that one. So we can see how many bison are there, how many young bison, and when I was there it was right before rut began, so they were displaying all these different behaviors. So the males and the females and the young, they all had different behaviors going on, so that was really interesting to observe all of that as a biologist. I'm often looking for professional development that helps my field, and so being the lead coordinator for the Marine Science Academy, I'm looking for things that incorporate research while also incorporate classroom teaching. So this was really unique in that I found a company, I found an organization that allowed me to work with them to provide this unique experience. And there's several companies out there that'll do similar things like this. And so I think teachers really need to take that ownership on themselves to continue to be an active learner in their field and to be inspired, because that's what I really came home with. Was I had seen people in my profession and we had talked about what we were doing and accomplishing, and they turned me on to things that I was doing and I didn't realize it, but also things that I could continue to grow and utilize in my classroom, like different data sets online and different technologies and ways of organizing different lessons. So that was really cool.
That was an awesome segment.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson, for all you do for the students of New Hanover County. We have so many amazing teachers here.
We really do. NHCS TV looks forward to sharing more teachers' stories with you, so keep it tuned here.
Now, we head to break with our new modern music bumper. These quick looks and listens of the musicians of our time were created this summer by NHCS TV intern Dylan Roberts.
We'll be right back.
But first, let me take a selfie.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley?
Ah, there she is. Pa?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder. They're a little bit of a lot of things. But all of them are pure love.
Good morning and welcome back to the morning show. I'm Grayson Borst.
And I'm Kira Schwagel.
We have some great segments ahead, but first we have our Did You Know?
Did you know the Amazon rainforest is very important to our world because it supplies 20% or 1/5 of the world's oxygen?
The rainforest is 2.1 million square miles in size and goes through 9 countries. There is an estimated 390 billion individual trees in the rainforest.
In addition, there are 2.5 million species of insects and 2,000 species of birds and mammals living there. The Amazon rainforest contains the highest biodiversity of the planet species on Earth.
In fact, 1 in 10 of the known species on Earth can be found in the rainforest, which also contains over 4,000 miles of winding rivers.
And believe it or not, over 50% of the dust which fertilizes the Amazon comes from the Sahara Desert in Africa. Nearly 28 million tons of dust is blown over the Atlantic Ocean, landing in the rainforest.
Being such an amazing and important place, let's hope efforts to prevent deforestation there are successful.
And that's our Did You Know for the week.
Now it's time to shift gears from rainforests to history. Archaeologists study past human life and culture through the recovery and examination of remaining material evidence. Using artifacts, inscriptions, monuments, and other remains, they paint a picture of the past.
In many cases, that picture tells a story. We have one of those amazing stories here from our friends at the Archaeology Channel. This week, they take us to Guatemala and teach us about the Mayan discovery at the Diablo Pyramid of El Zotz.
The Diablo Pyramid is part of a palace complex on a very high ridge, 160 meters above the city of the Maya civilization called El Zotz. When we began to explore looters' tunnels that had been made some decades before, we located and began to see evidence of finely modeled and very dramatically painted stucco. The stucco masks are about 5 feet high. Each one shows an aspect of the sun god with headbands and crowns of rulership as he goes through his daily passage. The sun was for them a key element of Maya rulership. It was an icon which they linked very deliberately to royal lives and royal identities and royal power. This is how the Maya would implant a dynasty in the landscape, by taking the body of a deceased king, placing him into one of these temples, and then through this linkage to the sun, there would be this continual restatement that this dynasty has arrived and that it has a secure foundation in that landscape. The Diablo Temple is one of the most ambitiously decorated buildings in ancient America. And we have to remember that this building was painted an intense red. That would simply catch fire at dawn and at dusk and would be visible from a long, long distance as well, more than any other feature of the landscape. It was this tangible statement of royal power and of its rooting in a dynastic founder. The only reason these stuccos are so well preserved is because they are from a building under that of the final layers of the El Diablo Pyramid. The Maya interred these stuccos with great care. We have to understand it as the Maya most likely did. The systematic mutilation of the breathing apparatus of these beings tells us that the Maya thought of these stuccos as living beings. This means that we're not only looking at them, but they are looking out at us. This has been a Brown project, of course, but it is also a collaborative project with the Guatemalan government that sponsors and supervises our research. It allows us to train some of the most exceptional graduate students in Mesoamerican archaeology. El Zotz has afforded these students opportunities to hone their craft and become the leaders of tomorrow in this field.
The Archaeology Channel always brings us an interesting segment. There's so much more you can learn from our history.
It's great to see college students getting to do such important work and making new discoveries for us to learn about.
We continue our show with gardening and nature. Our friends at the Cape Fear Garden Club provide us with wonderful information and tips that you can use in your own home and yards. In today's edition, our host Barbara Downing travels to Wrightsboro Elementary School, where they learn the school's sensory garden and what's involved in creating one.
Good morning and welcome to Gardening and Nature. This morning we are at Wrightsboro Elementary to learn about a project here called the Sensory Garden. School social worker Sammy Dorsey will explain the value and use of the sensory garden. How did you come up with this idea, Mr. Dorsey?
Well, you know, in working with the kids on different levels, you know, I realized that one of the ways that to help them you know, develop the skills they need, you know, is understanding their senses. And I thought, okay, what better way to develop and understand your senses than actually being able to go out in the garden and to use them. So over the years, we've put in different plants that focus on different senses. And at times I bring the kids out here and, you know, they love coming out and seeing what smells like what and touching the plants and listening.
So you actually use this to bond or to interact with the children or make them...
Yeah, you know, a lot of times, you know, when they're having a rough day, sometimes the best thing is just to come out into the garden and having different plants that, you know, that they can touch and smell. You know, it kind of gives them a moment to, moment of mindfulness, you know, to where they can really be exactly where they're at, and, you know, and it's a good transition to go back into the class.
All right, well, those of us who are gardeners do appreciate and understand that. How do the plantings themselves connect to the five senses? I know you have a variety here. If you could explain some of it.
Yeah, so we've got a touch. We have a wonderful plant right here. Lambs here, you know, the kids love coming and touching that, and, you know, and they're blown away when they touch it, you know, like it's so soft.
Right.
So we have that, and then we have the different herbs from lemon balm. You know, the kids always want a little piece of lemon balm. We have cilantro, you know, oregano, parsley, and then of course the flowers themselves give off different smells.
Right.
And then for the hearing, the wind, the leaves, the grasses, as the different grasses come in, you'll be able to, you know, hear them. And it is that moment of mindfulness to where they can really stop and just listen. And then even the taste, you know, like with the lemon balm and the oregano and the cilantro, and then just the visual, being able to come out here and look at everything, and even at different times, seeing the plants as they grow.
Oh yeah, I mean the beauty of the colors are
you know,
just...
and, you know, and it does. It really brings the kids to a moment to where they are, you know, in that moment, and, you know, and they're thinking and focusing on what's right there, and it's teaching them those skills that they can take back into the classroom and in their lives. So the kids are amazed with all of this.
Oh, I can see that. And plus you have benches where they can sit.
Yep.
And
nice picnic table.
Do they ever come out and read out here?
Oh, you know, often, you know, even the parents that come in for lunch, once they realize this is out here, you'll see them out here eating lunch, you know, and same thing with the kids and the teachers. You know, the whole school tends to use it for a place to kind of, that mindfulness moment. So,
oh, well, this is just wonderful. And I know the children appreciate it. And I'm sure their parents appreciate it, and we as gardeners appreciate it
always,
also.
Always, yeah.
Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Downing and the Cape Fear Garden Club. That was very interesting.
It is great to see how our schools are utilizing the outdoors to support and develop our students.
It is.
Okay, everyone, get your thinking caps on, because when we come back from break, it's game time.
Keep it tuned here to join in all the fun.
morning, Uglyville.
Every ugly doll is unique.
I'm Moxie.
Bobo.
Wait.
Call me Slick Doll.
What?
And every child is too.
They can be pretty lovable.
That's why when you travel, you should make sure your child is in the right seat for their age and size.
This is why you're the wisest doll in town.
Well, keep them safe by visiting NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Isn't that right, gibberish cat?
Just couldn't be better.
Find the right seat today.
Welcome to Game Time. I'm your host, Leah Schwagel. Are you awake? Are you clever? Today we have a brain testing game we call Tricky Trivia. This is not a challenge of what you know, but more of how you listen and think. Before we get to our thrilling game, let's meet our contestants and see what special segment they have for us today. Welcome, Kira and Grayson.
Thank you, Leah. Our special segment today is an important feature focused on electrical safety at home.
It was written and produced by NHCS TV intern Bradley Meadows, a senior at New Hanover High School.
He has important safety tips that can really apply this time of year, when many of us do a little something extra with lights and wires around our homes to celebrate the holidays.
Be sure to pay attention and keep these tips in mind.
Hey there, I'm Bradley Meadows. Have you ever walked across a carpet and received a shock when you touched a doorknob or another person? What you felt was the shock of static electricity, but a real electric shock is a lot more painful and can be deadly. Here's some tips to prevent you from feeling those painful shocks. Tip number 1, don't yank a cord out from the wall. If you're having trouble getting a plug out of an outlet, do not try to rip the plug out by the cord. This could cause damage to the plug or the outlet. Instead, pull from the plug. Tip number 2, do not plug lots of things into one outlet or extension cord, and especially do not plug another extension cord into an extension cord. This could damage the electrical system in your house or even cause a fire. Instead, unplug things that you're not currently using. Tip number 3, keep all electrical devices and outlets away from water. Water and electricity do not mix well. To avoid harming yourself or causing damage to your devices, don't keep things plugged in next to sinks, bathtubs, or even plants that need to be watered. Also, avoid plugging or unplugging something with wet hands or using an electric device while standing in water. Tip number 4, make sure all electric cords are tucked away or unplugged if they are not being used and stored somewhere safe. Leaving electrical cords strung out across the ground could lead you or someone else tripping on the cord, or your pet may start chewing on the cords. Tip number 5, never touch an exposed, burned, or worn wire without proper care. Touching an exposed wire while power is still being supplied through the wire can lead to a bad electrical shock. Be sure that whatever the wire is connected to is unplugged and the power going to that wire has been disconnected. Tip number 6, be wary of electronics that generate lots of heat. For example, computers, televisions, and game consoles. Make sure that they have enough room for ventilation. Do not stack clothes, books, or papers on top of them. Be sure there is lots of space around the electronics to ensure they won't overheat. Those are my electrical safety tips. I hope you learned something new today. I'm Bradley Meadows. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Bradley. Those were some great tips.
Hopefully, people at home will follow them and not overload their circuits if they are putting up lights and electric decorations for the holidays.
Well, Grayson, we all heard this is going to be a tricky trivia game time, so I hope you're ready.
Oh, I am.
Let's send it back over to Leah, who will explain the game.
Welcome back, Leah.
Thank you. The rules to Tricky Trivia are simple. I have 10 very tricky trivia questions and will ask you both one at a time. If you think you know the answer, you must buzz. The first person to buzz gets to answer, and if you blurt out an answer without buzzing or winning the buzz, it will not count. If you hit your buzzer before I finish reading, I will stop until you answer. If you get a question wrong, your counterpart will have a chance to answer it. Finally, if you're both stumped on one, I will provide the answer. Okay, contestants, are you ready? Yep. Here's the first question. A man leaves home and turns left 3 times, only to turn home facing 2 men wearing masks. Who are those 2 men?
I'm sorry?
Turns left 3 times. He leaves home. Turns left 3 times, and he comes back with people wearing masks.
He comes back with them or comes back and they're there?
Returns home facing 2 men wearing a mask. He's facing them.
I'm going to go with the first thing. Is burglar?
A burglar. Nope.
Wait. This is going to take a while. No.
All right, we got limited time.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, it's a catcher and an umpire in a game of baseball.
Oh.
I wouldn't have known that either. That's okay. All right, question 2. A house has 4 walls. All of the walls are facing south, and a bear is circling the house. What color is the bear?
Are you allowed to repeat the question?
A house has 4 walls. All of the walls are facing south, and a bear is circling the house. What color is the bear?
How?
You want to jab at this one?
I believe in you. You got it.
Good
thing someone does.
And all of them are facing south.
There's a lot of directions going on here, so I feel like those directions might... South.
Do you know how that helps?
I mean, yeah, I got the answer.
I'm going to take a wild guess again. Is it white for a polar bear?
Oh,
yes!
It's a polar bear.
Yes!
So, the house is on the North Pole.
Oh,
that's
not what I got it.
Yeah. All right, question 3. What occurs once in a minute, twice in a moment, and never in 1,000 years? Oh.
And what was the last one?
And never in 1,000 years.
Once in a moment, twice. Wait, no. Once in a minute, twice in a.
Go for it.
The letter M.
Oh, yes! That's it. All right, question 4. What is as light as a feather, but even the world's strongest man couldn't hold it for more than a minute? I feel like you've heard this one before.
Yeah.
Is it air? Or like, no, his breath.
You're
His
close.
breath.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yep. Fancy. All right, question number 5. Ooh, this one's complicated. Okay. Mary's father has 5 daughters. What?
Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Her name's Mary.
Where'd you hear that one?
Multiple places.
April's mother.
Okay, nice. Okay. All right, question 6. In a one-story pink house, there was a pink person, a pink cat, a pink fish, a pink computer, a pink chair, a pink table, a pink telephone, a pink shower. Everything was pink. But what color were the stairs?
There were no stairs. It was one story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where'd you hear that one? There you go. Alrighty. Oh, I'm struggling. Question number 7. What word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
I've heard this one too,
Wait,
but I
wait,
can't think.
Yes, I know. Wait.
What word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
I'm really trying to think.
Oh.
I've heard this somewhere.
I've heard
Okay.
this, but like,
I was
can you
thinking
tell
of it
us
backwards.
the letters?
No.
Shorter.
I've heard
When you
this.
add 2 letters.
Is it at the end?
I don't know. Is it?
I'm really trying to think because I've heard this one. Can you repeat it one more time?
What word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
I give up.
I have no clue.
Short.
I was gonna say that.
When you add 2 letters to short, ER, it becomes
I was literally going to say
I was
shorter.
literally gonna say that.
Say shorter.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other way around. Okay, anyway. Question 8. Throw away the outside and cook the inside, then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it?
I've heard this one too.
This one's, wow.
That's.
You throw away the outside, hit the inside. And then
Oh.
One more time.
Okay, so throw away the outside and cook the inside, then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it? You eat this, like, frequently.
I do.
Mm-hmm. As her sister, I can confirm.
Well, that's not fair.
Well, I'm trying to think of what I eat now.
Can I give him a hint? No hints.
I throw away the outside and eat the inside, and then I throw away then I eat the outside and throw away the inside.
Yep.
What? I throw away the outside, cook the inside, eat the outside, throw away the inside.
Does she eat this on like a daily basis,
No.
or is this like a weird food, like that you don't eat like on?
You don't eat it regularly, but it's not a weird food.
Did I used to eat it all the time?
It's like a seasonal thing.
Why did you say it like that?
Okay, throw away the outside.
Yeah.
And you cook the inside. And then you eat the outside.
Can you tell us what season?
And throw away the inside.
Right.
Because I'm thinking fall, but like.
I only have one thing that's coming to my head, but I know it's wrong.
What?
Is it egg? No.
No, but I mean that would
You know, throw away the outside.
Under like certain circumstances that could work, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe.
That was my guess. What's yours?
I really don't know. I'm thinking
just like
pumpkin, but I don't.
No, I don't eat pumpkins.
All right, so it's corn on the cob.
What? I
Because
do not
you
eat that
throw
all the time.
Well, okay. Yeah, all the
you
time was a
husk it
stretch.
and then you cook it.
Yeah,
and
so you
eat
throw
it
away
and
the husk. Yeah.
Got it.
Nice.
But you don't eat the husk.
Yeah,
No,
you throw away the
throw
husk.
away the husk.
Oh, and
Eat
then the inside
you
is the
cook-
out. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, question 9. A dad and his son were riding their bikes and crashed. Can I finish the question?
Yes.
Sure, go for
No,
it.
actually, I mean, let's
no,
hear
finish it. I want her to finish it.
You know what? But you buzzed in.
Go.
I'm breaking the rules.
The mom was the doctor, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, but we're going to finish the question because I don't think I've ever heard this one before. So a dad and his son were riding their bikes and crashed. 2 ambulances came and took them to different hospitals. The man's son was in the operating room, and the doctor said, "I can't operate on you. You're my son."
The mother was the doctor.
There you go.
Got it.
All right, question 10.
Stereotypes.
How can a pants pocket be empty and still have something in it?
You can have your hand in your pocket,
But then that's not empty.
but like there's nothing in the pocket but your hand.
But your hand is still within what? Within the realms of just kidding.
I mean,
Okay, pants pocket.
air, but like. That's
Yes. Let me just have my pants pocket filled with
Exactly.
air.
That's like.
Well, I don't technically have pockets. Okay, so you have pockets,
Yep.
but there's
What are you like
full up,
visualizing?
but there's
this?
nothing in them.
There's nothing in them, but there's
But
still
at the
something
same
in
time, there's something in them.
it. Yes.
I mean,
Did you have a guess?
no.
Oh,
Did you?
yeah. I said your hand.
Oh. Like
Yeah. Go for it.
the fabric.
That was my
Like
second
denim
guess.
or I don't know.
Denim. No. So it can have a hole in it.
It can still wait. What
You
was
guys
the
weren't
thing?
satisfied with
No,
the answer.
I'm not satisfied with that answer.
Question?
How can a pants pocket be empty and still have something in it? So like
have
it's
a hole
empty,
in
but
it.
yeah. it has a
Oh,
hole.
I'm not
You guys
satisfied.
didn't like that one,
No.
but that's okay. All right, and our game we have a tie. So, congratulations to both of you. You are our tricky trivia masters who both won. Yeah.
Good game, Kira.
Well, that does it for this edition of the Morning Show.
For the best TV of all, each and every day, keep it tuned right here for New Hanover County Schools TV on the Learning Network of the Cape Fear.
Have a great day.
And a wonderful week.